So, guys, the cost of Star Wars, The Rise of Palpatine, approaches 600 million. Disney revealed on Monday that the total cost of 2019 Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, came to 593.7 million, which is 450.2 million sterling, pound, making it the third most expensive movie in history. The cost of the production company behind the third installment of the science fiction saga rose by 10.1 million, again £8 million. That's going to come in later on why the pound is important. Last year, putting its total within a hair's breadth of the 452 million spent on Disney's first Star Wars movie, 2015's The Force Awakens. It too only just trails Jurassic World Dominion, which cost a monster 453.6 million, as this reporter revealed in The Guardian earlier this year. Now, because apparently, rumor has it, Disney are still, Lucasfilm is still paying off people that worked on this film. This film came out in 2019, and they're still paying people off. Incredible. Remarkably, despite its staggering cost, the Rise of Skywalker came in under budget, and there's no doubt about that. The last three Jurassic World films, Disney's Star Wars trilogy, was made in the United Kingdom, which shines a spotlight on its costs. Now, it did not come in under budget. That's what we are going to see. Maybe under budget for the original budget, of which they had, but these films anyway cost 200 to 300 million. It's incredible. The budgets of movies made in the United States are usually a closely guarded secret, as studios combine the cost of them in their overall expenses, don't itemize how much was spent on each one. It's a different story in the UK. So basically in the UK, these studios get a tax back, a tax refund, if you will. Studios filming in the UK get a refurbishment of about to 25.5% of the money they spend in the country, provided that at least 10% of the movie's core costs are incurred there. In order to demonstrate this to the authorities, studios set up separate companies to produce each film in the UK, and they are obliged to file legally binding financial statements. As with all UK companies, these filings are released in stages long after the period they relate to. The process starts during pre-production and continues long after the premiere. There is good reason for this. There is good reason for this. That is worse than the way that I talk. So, for example, I'm going to show you now. Film tax relief, 25% on UK qualifying expenditure. AVEC, 25.5% for live action feature films, 29.25% for animated feature films, 39.75% for films qualifying for the enhanced AVES. Under the AVES, qualifying VFX costs benefit from a net rate of 29.25%. Such expenditure incurred on or after 1st of January 2025. So, under the AVEC, basically, guys, that's why they film in the UK. Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny did the same thing, because in this way, they get some money back. It's revealed in the 2018 financial statements for the production company behind the Star Wars spin-off Rogue One, which stated that the company was involved in paying the ongoing production costs in relation to the film, even though it was released 2 years earlier. In short, financial statements are compiled in stages over a long period of time in order to give the production team time to ensure that all bills are paid. That I was saying before, that's why Disney had to pay out to Lucasfilm an extra 10 million last year. The findings are a goldmine of financial information, as they reveal everything from the production's overall cost to level of reimbursement, right down to their headcount, salaries, and even their social security payments to staff. They also reveal whether the movie cost more or less than the studio originally budgeted for it. So again, these things are not revealed. That's why when people come out and say, oh, the film had a 200 million budget, it made money because it made 600 million in the terms of Superman 2025. We don't know for sure if that film made money. It might have made 20 million, we don't know. The finance production company behind the Rise of Skywalker state that by March 2019, 1 month after filming wrapped, it was in line with the budget. However, Post-production cost less than expected, and by the end of the year, less than 2 weeks after the movie debuted, it was below the production budget. Although the reason for this isn't certain, yeah, okay. It coincided with the editing of the movie, which took less time than usual. This came to light in an interview on the Rough Cut podcast with the Rise of Skywalker's editor. Marianne Brandon admitted that the later stage of the production schedule were accelerated, which affected everything. She estimated that the crew had 3 months less to work on The Rise of Skywalker than The Force Awakens. Brandon explained that the reason for the tight timing was that Disney insisted on sticking to the movie's December 29 release date rather than delaying it, which would have increased the post-production time and therefore the cost. This is happening with a lot of movies, especially with Marvel, hence why we see many of the films with their CGI, their special effects, being absolute garbage. Reshoots are often planned in budgets, but J.J. Abrams, director of The Rise of Skywalker, told Entertainment Weekly that the movie ended up needing fewer than The Force Awakens. We don't believe that. No one believes that. He explained that because The Force Awakens was the first movie in Disney Star Wars series, we didn't know if these characters would work, if the actors would be able to carry a Star Wars movie. That's why he brought back Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. There were a lot of things we didn't know, and we knew who and what worked. So guys, you're going to see here, The Rise of Skywalker. This is on Numbers. I'm going to send a link in the description. They still have it, here is still showing what was the domestic box office international worldwide and also home market performance. So it made just over $1 billion. Okay. But guys, if you don't know, international box office is tricky because the studios take a little bit less in international. They take about 40% compared to 60% internationally. And if it's released in China takes 75% and the American studio takes 25%. In America, sometimes it's 50-50 or 60-40 for the studio. And here's still on Numbers. It's the production budget, as you see, $275,000. It is still listed as of yesterday, when I took this photo, as that, which we know now is not true. And as you see here, this was the cast of the Star Wars at the premiere. It's just amazing. I don't know how you spend $600 million. I don't get it. Harrison Ford had a small cameo. Mark Hamill had a little cameo. Carrie Fisher had passed away. I don't know. For Disney, they reduced reshoots and accelerated post-production process. Was a force for good. If the movie had cost more to make, it would have reduced the studio's profits. Calculating that requires knowledge of the amount Disney spent on the movie, what it generated from it. And also, guys, you have to figure into the budget as well at the end the cost of marketing. Marketing is usually between 50 to 150, even 200 million. That's why usually when you get the budget, you have to times it by 2.5 to see how much money a film has to make in order to make a profit. So Disney banked 103.8 million reimbursement for The Rise of Skywalker from the UK. So then in total was 489.9 million. Again, 2.5 or times 2. Yeah, it made money, but a little bit of money. So according to this, it says that theatres keep 49% of the takings. Again, we don't know. So there's about 50-50 split. This depends. Probably with Disney, this could be true. As I said, usually it is either 50-50, 55 to 45, or even 60 to 40. It depends on the company and what they are, or what deal they have actually made. Okay. So the amount of theatres pays euros is known as the trade as a rental fee. So don't forget the studios as well have to pay a rental fee to the cinemas to release their movies. Hence why you will see in America especially released in over 3,000 cinemas compared to other films which have, for example, maybe a film has been released in 1,000 cinemas, because it's the amount of money that you've actually given in And guys, it's normal. The cinemas need to make their money back. They're not going to release or show a film for free. This is not going to happen. So according to this, 48.6 million profit at the box office. So box office isn't a studio's only return from movies, so offsetting it from the costs of financial statements does not show whether it made an overall profit or loss. Because guys, you've got to consider as well DVD sales, but back then there was still, but now it's all about streaming. So that's why as well, a lot of films now do not get their money back. So a lot of films, for example, got their money back when they were released on VHS or in the past, or onto DVD or Blu-ray. That's where a lot of the studios made their money back for the film. Was not in the cinemas, was actually from physical copies. But now with streaming, that is not the case because of the cost of the streaming service itself. And if you already are subscribed, then it's free. Video on demand is a different story. Video on demand, yes, you have to pay. However, it depends how long a film will stay on video on demand before it goes onto a streaming service. If you don't know about the new Superman film, that's exactly what happened to that. That's why people believe that as well did not make a profit. Or if it did, it's very close to like 20, maybe 30 million. Okay, which for a studio, guys, in terms of this studio being Lucasfilm and Disney, that's not what you want to go in for. You don't want to make something just for an extra 20, 30 million. So Disney does not disclose how much it spends on marketing its picture, while the merchandise streaming sales are tough to attribute to specific productions. A great deal of the former carries the overall Star Wars brand rather than the names of the specific movies, and streaming viewers don't pay to watch each of them. Like I said before, basically. Yes, and we do not know exactly, because in America it is they don't have to release how much they paid, so it is estimated. It's always estimated. That's why you hear like a Marvel film was estimated to cost something, and then we heard, oh, it was filmed in the UK, so it had this, and then we get more information on this. Yeah, so I think the more and more this happens, we're going to get more and more information. So when these studios come out and lie and say, like you saw in the previous previous picture, at a 275 million budget, that is not true. That is not true. We knew it was not true because we heard rumors that it was not true, but now we got the facts. We got the facts now. And the people need to learn this and wake up, because when they come out and say, oh, we made a profit, we made this amount, blah, blah, blah. Star Wars The Force Awakens made a profit because it made 2.2 billion, but it cost a lot to make. As I said, it's the most expensive film of all time. So it made a bit, but not as much as probably it needed to make 2 billion. If it hadn't, I'm curious about what would have happened. And that is the case. So guys, let me know what you think. I think this will happen more and more often, and people will learn more and more, okay, this film did not make jack shit. Okay, peanuts would be more the term.